The bunker was silent, cold, and full of shadows. Metal doors hung half open, and wires dangled from broken lights. Dust floated in the air, glowing red under the warning light that blinked on and off. Outside, the planet's twin suns had just set, leaving a red fog crawling over the ground. That's when Lyria stumbled inside. Panting, scared, and almost out of breath. She was alone, barefoot, and her silver skin was scratched from running through the thorny brush. Her long white hair stuck to her face, soaked with sweat. The hunters were still out there, searching. She had no weapon, no food, no translator, just a thin cloth wrapped around her trembling body. Lyria wasn't supposed to be here. She was a Filari, a race not allowed near human war zones. But she had no choice. Her ship was shot down, her friends taken. Now she was just running, hoping to survive the night, the moment she stepped inside. The bunker, a strange feeling passed over her, like the air was heavy with something unnatural. She paused, listening, silence. Except for a slow drip from a pipe above, her heart still pounded as she moved deeper inside, trying to hide from the raiders behind her. She found a small room filled with broken chairs and strange machines. In the center was a metal table, dusty and cracked, but something on the table caught her eye. A red glowing bottle, tall, sealed, and strangely warm even from a distance. The symbols on it meant nothing to her. She didn't know it said, "Combat Serum X, do not ingest." Her throat burned with thirst. She hadn't had water in almost 2 days. Her lips were dry, her vision blurry. Without thinking too long, she grabbed the bottle, pulled the cap, and drank deeply. The liquid tasted strange, thick and hot, like liquid fire. For a second, she felt fine, just warmth in her chest. But then her knees gave out. Her body dropped to the floor as her muscles tightened. Her spine arched, breath catching, and suddenly, heat like nothing she had ever felt before. It wasn't just warmth. It was desire. Her skin tingled, her heart slammed in her chest. A strange scent rose from her body, like sweet spice mixed with fire. She gasped, trying to breathe, clawing at her neck as if her skin was too tight. What was happening to her? She curled into herself on the floor, shaking. Visions flashed in her mind, strange ones, primal ones. She saw herself grabbing someone's hand, pressing her face against a chest, a human's chest. The thought sent a wave of fire down her spine again. She moaned softly, trying to stay quiet. Outside, the howls of creatures echoed in the distance. Something had changed. Even animals could smell it now. She didn't know it, but the serum she drank wasn't normal. It was designed for human elite soldiers, to raise aggression, speed, instinct, and adrenaline. But inside a Filari female, it awakened something much older, something linked to touch, scent, and mating. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. She wasn't sure, but her body finally calmed. Even if the burning remained, she sat up slowly, still panting, her skin glowing softly in the dark. The red bottle lay beside her, nearly empty. Lyria wiped her mouth and looked at the bottle again. Her fingers trembled, but something inside her whispered, "You're not the same anymore." Outside the bunker, a motion sensor blinked. Far away, a human satellite picked up a strange signal. Combat Serum X was active again, and no one was authorized to use it. A recovery team was already on its way, but they didn't know it wasn't a human who drank it. It was something else entirely, something now craving touch, warmth, and closeness, and anyone who found her first might not leave the same. Lyria sat against the cold bunker wall, arms wrapped tightly around her knees. Her body had stopped shaking, but the heat inside her hadn't faded. It pulsed, deep and heavy, like a fire trapped under her skin. Every breath made her chest rise with need, not hunger, not thirst, but something else, something she didn't have words for. Her skin was flushed, sensitive to every movement. When the dusty wind touched her through the broken vent above, she shivered, not from cold, but from something strange, something aching. She pressed her hand against her heart, trying to calm it. It didn't work. She hadn't slept since she drank from the red bottle. Every time she closed her eyes, her dreams were filled with strange visions. Warm hands, soft voices, a human face she'd never seen before. And in every dream, he was touching her gently, holding her close. Each time she woke up, her body felt hotter, her mind foggier. Something was wrong with her. Or maybe something had awakened. She looked down at herself. Her silver blue skin glowed faintly now, and the thin lines that ran along her arms were more visible. They used to glow only when she was frightened. Now they pulsed with each heartbeat, each thought of warmth, closeness, connection. She crawled to a piece of shattered glass and looked at her reflection. Her eyes had changed. The irises were wider, golden at the edges. Even her lips were fuller, like her body was adapting for something. She barely recognized herself. Outside, distant sounds grew louder. Animals in the red mist sniffed the air, drawn to the strange new scent. They didn't know what they were following, only that something powerful and alive had entered their forest. Lyria felt it too. She could sense footsteps long before they were near. She could smell metal, oil, and sweat from far away. And then, she felt it. A heartbeat, steady and strong, not hers, not alien, human. Her body reacted instantly. The heat inside her surged to her chest and hips. She gasped, leaning forward, clutching her stomach. Her breath caught in her throat, and a soft moan escaped her lips before she could stop it. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "This isn't me, this isn't right." But her body didn't listen. The serum inside her had mixed with ancient Filari instincts. It had rewritten her chemistry, her emotions, her desires. It made her crave something she'd never known. Touch, warmth, him. She didn't know who him was, but her heart already did. He was getting closer with every passing minute, and her body was preparing for him like it had already chosen. Back outside the bunker, Alex, a human scout from the nearby outpost, followed the sensor readings. He had been tracking a strange biosignature since morning. At first, he thought it was just a malfunction, until the heat signature spiked. No wild creature could give off a signal like that. His boots crunched over dry bones and fallen leaves. His rifle stayed close to his chest, eyes scanning every shadow. When he saw the old human bunker, he paused. The place had been locked since the war 3 years ago. No one was supposed to be inside. He stepped in slowly, flashlight cutting through the dark. That's when he heard something. A soft sound, half gasp, half whisper, inside the back room. Lyria felt the footsteps again. Closer now. She didn't hide. She couldn't. She sat in the middle of the room, glowing softly in the red dust, her hands gripping the floor, her breath shaky. When Alex entered, his eyes widened. He didn't raise his gun. He just stood there, staring at the alien girl on the ground. She looked up at him, eyes full of confusion, fear, and need. Her lips parted, and in broken English she whispered, "Help me." Alex blinked, heart pounding. This wasn't a threat. This was something else. Something unexpected. Something fragile and powerful at the same time. He took one step closer, and her body tensed like it was waking up again. Scent in the room changed, sweet and sharp. Alex didn't know it yet, but the girl in front of him was no longer fully Filari. She was something new, and his touch might be the only thing keeping her from losing control. Alex had seen many strange things during his patrols across forgotten war zones. Ruined cities swallowed by forests, crashed ships still smoking after years, even ghost signals from empty space stations, but never this. An alien girl, glowing faintly, curled up in a dark bunker, eyes wide and skin trembling. He had entered carefully, flashlight scanning every corner. His boots crunched over shattered glass and rusted casings. And then he heard it again, a soft gasp, almost like someone holding back a cry. He followed the sound, one slow step at a time. In the back room, the air changed. It was warm, too warm. His HUD flashed a warning. Elevated heat and pheromone levels. And that's when he saw her. She sat in the middle of the room, knees to her chest. Silver blue skin flushed with color. Her long white hair stuck to her shoulders, and her fingers clenched the metal floor. Her eyes glowed faintly golden, staring at him like she'd been waiting. She didn't speak, not at first, but her body, her whole presence, felt like a scream trapped in silence. Alex didn't move too fast. He knelt down slowly, setting his weapon aside. "Hey," he said gently, "you okay?" Her lips trembled, and her voice came out soft, broken. "Help me." Her words weren't fluent, but clear enough. She wasn't a threat. She was in pain, or something far more complicated. He reached for the small med kit on his belt, but when he leaned forward, she crawled toward him on all fours. Her movements were slow but desperate, like she couldn't stop herself. Alex froze, unsure what to do. Her fingers reached out and touched his boot. Her body shivered again, like she had just touched a fire she'd longed for. Her breath hitched, and her eyes fluttered shut. The scanner beeped again. Heart rate, 180 BPM, core temperature, 106 degrees Fahrenheit, and rising foreign serum detected in local atmosphere. What the hell? He muttered. Then he saw it, the broken red bottle on the floor near her. Glowing faintly, his blood turned cold. He recognized the label, even if cracked, Combat Serum X. An experimental Formula 1 the military had banned years ago, designed to push human soldiers past their limits, but only humans were meant to take it, and this girl. This Filari. She had drunk it. Alex slowly removed his thermal blanket from his pack. She whimpered softly when he stepped back. "It's okay," he said, voice calm. "I'm not leaving." He wrapped the blanket around her, but she didn't stop shaking. Her skin radiated heat, but she looked cold. Her breathing sped up again the moment his hand brushed her shoulder. Then she opened her eyes and looked at him like he was the only thing keeping her alive. Her hands clutched the front of his vest, and she pulled herself into his arms, without asking, without thinking. Her head pressed to his chest, and she let out a long, trembling sigh. Something about the way she held him wasn't just fear, it was need, not just emotional. Something biological. Alex hesitated, but didn't push her away. She was burning up. And it wasn't just fever. Her body had changed, was still changing. And his presence was calming her somehow. The serum had altered her brain chemistry made her react to him on instinct. Her voice was shaky, nearly silent. "Only you," she whispered. "Only near you." "It stops." His heart beat faster. He didn't know what that meant, but he could feel it too. Her closeness stirred something primal in him, not just attraction. Something older, a pull. He gently stroked her back, careful, slow, and she melted against him. The golden glow in her eyes faded slightly. And for the first time, her breathing steadied outside. Distant roars echoed in the forest. Something was coming, drawn by the scent, the heat. The signal from the serum. Alex checked his tracker. Military units were rebooting toward his location. They had picked up the same signal, but they didn't know she was alien, and if they found her like this, they'd either capture her or kill her. He looked down at her in his arms, so soft, so fragile, yet she had survived something meant to rewrite a soldier's mind. And now she was tangled in him like he was the only thing that mattered. He whispered softly, "Don't worry. I'll protect you," she murmured against his chest. "Stay with me, please." And he knew he couldn't leave her behind. Not now. Not ever. Alex sat still in the bunker cave, holding Lyria gently in his arms. Her breathing was fast, her body still too hot to be safe. Her skin glowed softly, and her fingers gripped his vest like she would fall apart without him. He looked down at her, confused and worried. She wasn't just sick. Something else was happening inside her. Something strange, something powerful. He reached for his scanner again, his hand trembling a little. The screen flashed warning signs. The serum had mixed with her DNA, but it didn't just boost strength. It was changing something deeper, something biological. The scanner said something that made his eyes go wide. Primary bond forming with nearest life form. Alex stared at the screen. Nearest life form meant him. He looked at her again, this time with a new understanding. Lyria wasn't just sick, she was reacting to him. Her body was changing and somehow attaching to his presence. Her breath hitched as she opened her eyes slowly. Those golden eyes sparkled, not with pain but with focus, like she was finally seeing clearly for the first time. "I feel better when I'm near you," she whispered, voice soft and unsure. "When you hold me, the fire inside cools down." Alex swallowed hard, trying to stay calm. He hadn't trained for this. He was a scout, not a medic, not a scientist, but something in her voice made him believe her. She moved closer to his chest, resting her head again against him. Her glow softened and her trembling slowed. It was working. His closeness really was calming her. Outside, the sounds of engines rumbled across the trees. Alex looked up sharply. They were here. The military had arrived. Following the signal from the broken serum bottle, he looked down at Lyria. If they saw her like this, they'd treat her like an infected lab test, not a person. He had to get her out of there before they caught up. "Can you walk?" he asked softly. She shook her head. "Only if I hold you," she whispered. "Only with you near." He nodded and picked her up gently. Her arms wrapped around him instantly, and her body pressed close as if it belonged there. He could feel her heartbeat now matching his again. It didn't even feel strange anymore. It felt right. As he moved through the forest, Lyria stayed quiet, but he could feel her breathing slowly against him. Every time he stepped away or loosened his grip, she whimpered and tensed. He didn't need a scanner to understand. She needed to stay near. Her body was changing fast, but it was bonding with him, not breaking down. After walking for what felt like hours, they found a small cave near the cliffs. It was hidden, safe, and cool. Alex set her down gently on a soft patch of moss and leaned back. He watched her breathing steady as the cool air touched her glowing skin. Lyria looked up at him, her eyes no longer wild. They were calm and bright. "Something inside me woke up," she said softly. "And it chose you." Alex frowned. "Chose me for what?" Her hand reached for his, holding it tightly. "You calm the fire. You balance the heat," she said. "I need your scent, your presence, your heartbeat." She took a shaky breath. "It's not just a mistake from the serum," she whispered. "It's a bond, a real one, ancient, old instincts awakened by your chemical. But now they are mine." Outside, something growled in the mist again. The hunters had returned, searching for the source. Alex looked out at the red mist, then back at the glowing girl by his side. She had been changed by a human mistake, but what she had become was not a mistake. She was stronger now, and she had chosen him. "Stay close," she whispered as her fingers slipped into his. "Only you can keep me whole." He nodded and pulled her gently into his arms again. The forest was alive with danger. The red mist drifted between the trees like smoke, hiding movement, hiding heat, but not from Lyria and not from the soldiers. Alex moved fast but carefully, holding her close. Her arms wrapped around his neck, her face buried against his shoulder. She wasn't heavy, but the heat she gave off made his heart race. Not from weight, but from the way her body responded to his. Every step he took, her body pressed closer. Every breath she took, her chest rose in time with his. She was whispering again, barely audible. "Safe, warm. Stay close." He didn't speak, didn't want to risk breaking the rhythm. They were being followed, and they both knew it. Behind them, the military hunters were closing in, not human infantry biodrones. Armored beasts bred for war. They were made to track heat, scent, energy. And right now, Lyria gave off all three. The serum had left a trail they couldn't hide. But it wasn't just a chemical trace, it was something alive. A signal only predators could feel, and they were coming fast. Alex kept to the deeper parts of the forest. He followed animal paths and used old camouflage tricks. Still, Lyria's warmth pulsed through his armor. Even the leaves near her seemed to curl from the heat she gave. "Almost there," he whispered. He had a small shelter in the cliffs, a hidden spot where no drone could fly. If he could just make it there, maybe he'd have time to think. Lyria stirred against him, her eyes half open. "I feel them," she said softly. "They want me, but not like you do." Alex frowned. "What do you mean?" She didn't answer. Instead, her fingers traced his neck, and then her body tensed. She looked up sharply, eyes glowing gold again. "They're here," she whispered. Too late. The ground shook behind them. A roar tore through the mist, followed by heavy crashing footsteps. The first bio-drone emerged 8 feet tall, armored like a tank, and already growling. Alex turned, backing against a tree, shielding Lyria with his body. "Hold on," he said through clenched teeth. He fired his blaster, but the shot only made the beast angrier. Lyria trembled not from fear, but from instinct. Her eyes burned brighter. Her skin shimmered. Something inside her was waking again. "I can stop it," she whispered. Alex looked at her, confused. "What?" "No, you're not strong enough." But she stood, legs shaking, eyes fierce. The bond had made her stronger, but only with him close. She stepped forward, raised her hand, and screamed. The sound was sharp, high-pitched. Not like any human scream. It hit the bio-drone like a hammer. The beast froze, whined, and backed away. Confused, blinded, Alex pulled her back just before it recovered. The drone growled and turned again, but now something had changed. It was afraid. Lyria collapsed into Alex's arms. "Weak again. That's all I had," she whispered. Her body was burning up again, worse than before. He carried her the last stretch toward the cliff shelter. By the time they reached the cave, her skin was glowing. She gasped with each breath, fingers curled tightly against his. Armor inside. The cave was cool, quiet, hidden from the outside world. Alex laid her gently on the soft earth. He removed his gear, soaked a cloth with water, and pressed it to her forehead. She moaned softly, turning toward his hand. "Stay. Please." He nodded, sitting close beside her, but his thoughts were racing. If the drones were still out there, more would come, and if she kept burning up like this, she wouldn't survive. Then her voice came again, weak but clear. "My body. It needs you." Alex blinked. "What?" She reached out, touching his chest. "It's not. Just touch. Your presence cools the fire." She looked into his eyes. "I was made to survive. But now I'm made to survive with you." The serum didn't just boost her senses. It rewrote her instincts, and now her body was tied to his scent, his touch, his closeness was the only thing keeping her stable. She leaned in, her lips brushing his ear. "If I stay far from you, I'll burn from the inside." Alex looked at her, stunned. She wasn't being poetic. She meant it literally, and outside the cave, something howled again. The hunters hadn't given up. They were circling back, but Alex now knew he wasn't protecting a victim. He was protecting something new, something powerful, something bonded to him forever, and if he had to fight the galaxy to keep her safe, he would. The cave was dark and quiet, but not peaceful. The air was thick with heat and tension. Alex sat beside Lyria, watching her skin shimmer in the dim light. She was breathing fast, her chest rising and falling like waves crashing in a storm. Outside, the forest was silent for now, but Alex knew that silence only meant one thing. The hunters were listening. Inside, something else was happening, something no human had ever seen. Lyria was changing, not in pain, not in fear, but in evolution. She had fallen asleep briefly, curled beside Alex, one hand resting on his chest. But now she stirred, eyes still closed, her body glowing again, brighter than ever. Golden lines traced up her arms, across her back, pulsing softly like a second heartbeat. Alex stared, unsure what to do. His scanner blinked rapidly, showing warning after warning. Biosurge detected. Bond progression, final stage. Unknown mutation active. He reached out and touched her forehead. Her skin was hot, but not unstable like before. This wasn't a fever. This was a reboot. Her body was adjusting, growing stronger, and whatever part of her had been Fulari before was now becoming something more. Her eyes opened slowly. They were no longer soft golden. They were glowing bright amber, with narrow rings of light spinning slowly in the center. She looked at Alex not with confusion this time, but with clarity. "You are my anchor," she said softly. Her voice was calm but powerful. "I finally understand. The serum didn't change me. It woke up something that was always sleeping." Alex leaned in, eyes locked with hers. "What did it wake?" She touched his hand, placing it over her heart. "My species was made for survival. But true survival wasn't about running or hiding. It was about finding a connection strong enough to resist fear." Her heartbeat matched his again, exactly. No delay, no echo as one. Her next words were quiet. "Our old instincts were about choosing. Mate, one who balances the body, quiets the fire. One who makes the storm stop." Alex's chest tightened. "Are you saying the serum made you choose me?" She nodded slowly. "It didn't make me choose." Her fingers gently touched his face. "It made me feel what was already inside. And now it can't be undone." The bond was complete. Her mind was clear. Her power fully awakened. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from outside the cave. Alex grabbed his blaster and moved toward the entrance. "Stay here," he whispered, but before he could step away, Lyria stood up, completely steady, completely calm. "I'll protect you this time," she said softly. He turned to stop her, but what he saw froze him. Her body glowed from head to toe. A soft golden aura radiated around her, and her eyes blazed like twin stars. She stepped past him, barefoot, graceful, and fearless outside. The 3 biodrones had returned, larger than before, and now armed with advanced weapons, but they paused the moment she stepped into view. Lyria raised one hand, palm facing them. Her voice echoed soft, but full of power. "This bond is protected." The drones scanned her, but their systems started glitching. Their targeting reticles blinked, their sensors overloaded. Alex watched in awe as Lyria walked forward. The trees around her bent slightly from the energy she gave off. The mist burned away in her path. She didn't attack, she existed. And her presence was too much for them to handle. One by one, the drones backed away, confused, unable to lock on. They had no defense against her biological command. She turned back to Alex, who stood frozen near the cave. "You gave me balance," she said softly. "Now I can give you safety." She walked back to him and rested her forehead gently against his. Their bodies close, their heartbeats still matched. Alex closed his eyes, overwhelmed. He wasn't just protecting her anymore. She was protecting him too, she whispered. "Where you go, I'll follow. Where you stay, I'll build. Where you sleep, I'll guard." He opened his eyes. A soft smile spread across his face. "You're not just some serum accident," he said. "You're something incredible." Lyria smiled back. "No," she whispered. "We are." Outside, the forest remained quiet. The hunters had vanished. But something far stronger had just been born. A bond between 2 species that no one could break, and soon the galaxy would hear about it. The world felt different now. The forest was quiet, the red mist had faded, and the wind no longer carried the scent of danger. Inside the cave, Alex and Lyria sat close together, their hands lightly touching, their breaths calm and steady. Everything had changed, but it felt right. For the first time since the bunker, Lyria wasn't trembling. Her skin no longer glowed wildly, and the fire inside her had cooled to something warm. Peaceful, alive. She was in control now, because he was with her. Because they were bonded. Alex had so many questions, but the biggest one was still stuck in his throat. What happens now? Lyria looked at him with soft golden eyes. The glow inside her was still there, but now it wasn't burning her. It was part of her. She touched his hand, gently tracing the lines on his palm. "This bond isn't just instinct anymore," she said. "It's a choice too." Alex looked at her, heart beating faster. "A choice?" Lyria nodded. "My people were not meant to bond with outsiders. But the serum forced something ancient awake, and it showed me what connection really is. She leaned forward, placing her forehead gently against his again. I choose you, Alex. Her voice trembled with meaning, not just to survive, but to build something new. He closed his eyes, feeling her breath on his skin. The war, the danger, the serum, it had all led to this moment, and somehow it felt like the beginning, not the end. But peace never lasted long. Outside, the rumble of human engines broke the silence. A sleek gunship hovered over the forest, lights scanning the ground. The military had arrived, fully armed and ready to take back their serum. Inside the cave, Alex stood quickly, pulling Lyria behind him. But she stepped forward, calm and fearless. "They'll come for me," she said softly. "But I won't run." Alex frowned. "They'll treat you like a weapon." She nodded slowly. "Then let them see what kind of weapon I really am." Together, they walked out of the cave. Hand in hand, two shadows against the golden mist. The ship landed with a hiss, and soldiers poured out, weapons raised. A commander stepped forward, scanning Lyria with narrowed eyes. "You have something that belongs to the Terran military," he said coldly. "That serum is classified." Alex stepped in front of her. "She's not a bottle," he said. "She's a person, and she's not going anywhere without me." The soldiers hesitated, but the commander gave a silent signal. The guns locked on, and that's when Lyria stepped forward. Her eyes blazed gold. Her skin shimmered with quiet power. The earth around her pulsed with energy, and her voice echoed like wind through steel. "I am not yours," she said. "I was changed by your mistake. But I am not broken, I'm evolved." One of the soldiers stumbled back, blinking in awe. The others hesitated, unsure what they were seeing. She wasn't threatening them. She was standing tall, powerful and beautiful. Not a weapon, but a force of will. The commander stared, confused. "What are you?" Lyria took Alex's hand and smiled softly. "I am his," she said, "and he is mine." She didn't fight. She didn't run. She simply chose. The scanners in the ship glitched, the readings unreadable. Her body was no longer just Filari, no longer just altered by serum. She was something new, and no protocol could control her. After a long silence, the commander lowered his weapon. He saw what they all did. She wasn't a threat to humanity. She was the proof of what humanity could become. Alex and Lyria turned away together. The soldiers let them go, not because they were weak, but because they were untouchable. Later that night, under the stars, Lyria looked at him and whispered, "Even if the bond fades, I'll still stay with you." Alex smiled, brushing her hair behind her ear. "It won't fade," he said, "because I'm not going anywhere." And as they rested beside each other, their bodies warmed by more than heat, they knew the truth. They had not just survived. They had rewritten fate. Together, they were not human or alien, not soldier or serum. They were bonded forever.